Hey guys, Mix here, and in this video we are back working with the RM125 build, and today I'm hoping to get the rear brakes on and functioning, along with bleeding the front brakes, and of course putting in fluid, because you can't bleed it unless there's fluid in it. Also, I'm going to start mounting up spots for the wiring harness, like the CDI box. Try and figure out a place to put that, because last time when I ordered the new one, it had shorter wires than the original one, so I couldn't mount it in the original spot that was right here on the front. So we're going to try and figure that out. And probably get as much as the wiring harness on, so then right when the engine goes on, just screw down the wires that need to go on, and then we'll be set. Then we'll see what else we get to today, because we're supposed to get snow in a little while, so we'll just see what happens. But before we start working on the dirt bike, I want to do a quick cold start on the Magna. I've had the battery charging for a little while, and it's fully charged, so it hasn't been started since the video when you guys last started with the cold starts on the collection. I think that was about 4 weeks ago, so yeah, we'll just see what happens. I'm putting in premium on this bike for the first time ever, some nice 93 octane. Hopefully she can handle it. I'm gonna hit the floats with the hammer, because I like to get stuck a lot. Alright guys, let's see how long this takes. Jeez. That backfire was ear-deafening loud. That premium gas is making it real powerful. But she fired pretty much right up. It seems to be running good right now, so let her warm up, and I'll take her off the choke. Just cut off, and I just tried starting it back up, but the battery died already, so this battery's definitely shot, so I'm gonna have to get a new one. But it does run good once it's running. I know that the carbureted bike, definitely doesn't like this cold air. It's like 30 degrees out right now, so it definitely doesn't like that. So that's definitely one of the reasons why it shut off. Back with the RM, and here is the rear brake assembly. I'm probably going to be ordering a new rear brake lever for it, and it's all scraped up on the side, so I'm not even going to bother, painting this, because if I paint it, and the amount of times I probably step on this while riding it, it'll just get all chipped up, and it will just peel up, and it probably will look just as bad as how it looks now. So I'm probably just going to order a fresh one. So we'll just bolt it right up, nice and simple, and then we'll lead the brake line to the rear brakes. So when I was just hammering in this socket into these hex screws, the hammer slipped and hit me right in the finger. So that's going to turn into a nice blood blister, just like the one next to it. So I should probably clean this up before I start dealing with some leftover brake fluid that's leaking out of here, because I do not want brake fluid in that. Cleaned up, now let's continue. Problem that I remember running into, well, not really a problem, but kind of just, yeah, I guess a problem, was how close this bolt was to the swing arm. And I remember taking it out, I had to get in there, squeeze in there in order just to get it right out. So I'm gonna have to figure something out to get it back in. If I can't get it back in, then I'm probably just gonna have to take off the whole caliper, and then just move it forward, then tighten it, and then put it back. So we'll just see what happens. All right, so about 45 minutes later, I finally got on this oil bolt. I was destined to get it on without taking off the whole caliper, and I got it. I just used needle nose pliers, got in there to tighten it. I used my hands a lot to hand tighten it, and then I was able to fit a tiny 12mm wrench in there and tighten it up. Tighten up the master cylinder. Now I'm just gonna pour some .4 brake fluid in there, and then see if we can build some pressure. At least we know it won't be empty for a while. Now I'm gonna bleed the brakes. I know with my Super Magna, when I first got the whole new master cylinder assembly for the clutch, because because the clutch isn't engaged with a cable, it's engaged with pressure from brake fluid. So what I did is when I poured it in, I pumped it a couple times, it had pressure instantly. So I tried it in this case, but not the case. I'm gonna have to bleed it. Now hopefully we'll get some pressure. The brakes are bled. We got some pretty nice pressure now. And if we spin the wheel, it'll stop instantly. Brakes won't get stuck, it'll keep going. So rear brakes are set. Now we're gonna get the front brakes dialed in. Everything's already hooked up to the calipers. All the wires are connected. I just gotta pour in the brake fluid and then bleed it, and then we should have front brakes as well. So now we'll take off the top, which is really tight on there. Okay, there we go. Still some brake fluid left in there, so there shouldn't be a lot of air left in the line. Owner before me told me that there were no pads on the front, but if you look down, you can see that there obviously is pads there. So I'm not sure what he was talking about. He gave me some extra brake pads just in case I needed them, so I guess these will come in handy. We'll start bleeding the front brakes, and then we'll have the brakes working on both sides. Alright, so I've been going back and forth with this front brake, trying to bleed it for a while now, and the pressure just doesn't seem to be getting any better. It's still as soft as possible, so I feel like maybe the master cylinder might be shot or something. Maybe the line's clogged. So I'm gonna open this up, see if I see any action or anything going inside, see if it's shooting out, see if there's air bubbles coming up, just see what happens. I think I'm just gonna leave the brakes for tomorrow because it's starting to get dark. The temperatures are dropping fast and the snow is about to come. So tomorrow we'll continue with the electrical and the brakes, maybe just a couple other things. So hopefully I'm not standing in like a foot of snow. It's not supposed to be a lot, so we should be able to work tomorrow, but we'll see you guys tomorrow. All right, so we're back the next day. No snow on the ground except for over there, but it's so hot out and most of it melted. But we got the RM sitting here, and now we need to go back with the front brakes and see what's up with this, because I definitely bled them for a while, and they should have pressure from the amount of time that I was bleeding them for. So take off the cap and see if I see any action going on in there, like I said yesterday. So we'll take that off and see what we see. Let's see what we got under the cap. Alright, so the fluid definitely went down a lot. We pump it. There are a ton of air bubbles coming out. Hopefully you guys can see that. So maybe I just need to bleed it some more. I don't think the master cylinder is shot if it's actually, pumping, so maybe there is some air left in the line. So I'm going to try and bleed it some more and then see what happens. Find more and more with this brake, but it's not working. There's more and more air bubbles just coming up from the master cylinder, so that's kind of weird. So what I thought, maybe there's just a ton of air, maybe caught somewhere in like a pocket in the line. So I'm just gonna try and take off, disconnect these two parts from the master cylinder and the line, maybe shoot some cleaner through the line, get it all flushed out, and then push this down while this is off and see if any brake fluid shoots out. So we'll just see what happens when we take that off. That these are off, I pumped this and brake fluid did come out. There was a couple of air bubbles that did shoot out, but I made sure when I closed it and when I took it back out, I made sure to plug this all so air didn't get back into the system. And also I just cleaned this out with some cleaner, just shot it straight through, make sure that's not clogged up or anything, shook it up. Maybe there's some air trapped in there, so I'm just gonna put it back on and see what happens. But then if we come down here to the bleeding screw, there's just brake fluid just pouring out of it, so this is like having me stumped right now. I think we're finally starting to have success. There's been air bubbles just shooting out of there automatically, so I'm gonna start bleeding a couple times and I think we're gonna start to build pressure. Finally, we have success. Got some pretty good pressure. I guess that there was just a lot of air maybe at the top of the line that just had to make its way through the entire thing. So, the whole line, it's got fresh fluid through it. We got pretty good pressure. All right, so now let's test the map quick. I'll just spin the front. And they don't get stuck. Perfect. Just lubricated both of the rotors just because they're rubbing a little bit and the wheels weren't spinning as much as they should. So now they're spinning nice and freely. They probably just got all dried from just sitting while this thing was disassembled. But now that we have the brakes and everything all set and ready to go, now I want to work on the electrical. Here is the electrical for the dirt bike. We have the CDI box, kill switch, and the coil. And then if you see, this is the new CDI box, the one that actually works. So you can see how short these wires are. So if you go over to the old one, you can see how much longer the old one wire was. So obviously I'm not going to be able to mount it in the original spot that was right here. So I'm going to have to do it a little bit closer to the engine and everything. So I'm definitely going to have to figure it out. I might look back in some old pictures of the dirt bike when the engine was in it and see how high the top of the head was from the top. Because maybe I could just mount it right here, right by the coil. Try and figure it out. But what I'm going to do right now is just mount on the kill switch, the coil, and connect the two. Also, I just slid on the clutch lever because why not? So I have the kill switch wired up, the coil bolted down. Looking back at an old picture that I had when the engine was on, it looks like that I'm going to have enough space from here to the engine to mount the CDI box. The owner before me actually just had this like GoPro mounted here, and it actually seemed to work, so I might do that. I might just zip tie it. So I looked everywhere for my zip ties to mount the CDI box right here, but I can't find them anywhere. And after thinking, I don't think I'm going to use a GoPro mount because that's kind of ghetto. I mean, zip ties aren't, you know, just as bad, but I've had GoPro mounts that ripped off paint in the past, and I don't want any paint being ripped off of this nice frame. So I'm just gonna leave it for now, try and find those zip ties another time. This video needs to get up to you guys today, so I'm gonna be ending it here. We got functioning brakes, we got the wires almost ready, just need to get that CDI box mounted. And a lot of you were saying to paint the swing arm, and I'm sure it would look better with the swing arm black, but I just wanted to see, because I don't want it to be, you know, all plain, you know, just all black or whatever. I wanted to see how it looked with diverse colors, you know, gold, black, and then the swing arm silver. If I don't like how it looks, it's not the end of the world. I can always get it painted. So I'm just gonna see how it looks, and if I don't like it, I'll get it painted. Also, a lot of you guys were saying to go through the bearings and grease them all and everything. I already greased all of them. I didn't show it in the video because, you know, that's just kind of boring, just greasing them. So I didn't bother recording it, but I did grease them all. Just like you guys, you know, I don't want this bike falling apart on me or anything. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'm gonna be in a lot more frequent uploads than usual because it's winter break, so I'm gonna be able to work more, and the temperatures are gonna be pretty hot. It's gonna be in the 50s, so I'm gonna be outside a lot. But next video, we're probably gonna be maybe working on the engine or just doing something else. We'll just see what happens. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, friends with the channel.